Alice Nabalamba is coming on now to speak, and apologies for the confusion with the agenda. Alice is with the Infrastructure, Cities and Urban Development Department of the African Development Bank. And Alice, please forgive me. Really excited to hear about what you have to say, and this focus on cities and on the role of affordable housing within cities, and new priorities that we need to focus on. So please, offer you the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Share screen. Oops. Give me just 1 minute. I'm sorry, I had closed the presentation.
Hello, Alice. Are you able to? Are you sharing a screen or?
Yes, I was trying to share my screen. Is it? Can you see it?
Not yet. No.
I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. Enter screen.
That's okay. At the bottom there's a. Is it coming?
Yes. Correct. No, I don't see. I don't think. If somebody could help me to share the screen. I have the presentation open. Anyway.
Alice, one option is if you'd like to just quickly email it to me, then I'll broadcast it from my side.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let me do that.
Okay.
Let me do that right away, and in the meantime, we could start without wasting too much time. I just wanted to thank you for that introduction, and to also thank you for inviting the African Development Bank to this conference, important conference. For us, I think it serves several purposes, but one of them is the fact that we can use it to, develop our pipeline for the next, few years through meeting the various stakeholders, partners that have spoken since yesterday.
I'm sure you'll find very many people interested in being part of your pipeline.
Yes, so I'm very excited about that. Very quickly, I just sent it to you. Very quickly, this affordable housing the conference is very timely for us. Because we're in the process of developing our new Sustainable Urban Development Action Plan, and also known as the SUDAP. And the SUDAP is an instrument or a tool that will guide banks' interventions in our regional member countries. And this is both sovereign and non-sovereign operations, as well as other development work. The focus of the SUDAP is on improved governance in cities, urban planning, and infrastructure development and service delivery. In addition to housing and shelter, the SUDAP focuses on urban governance, essential services, transport and urban mobility, sub-national credit and municipal finance, as well as resilience, environment, and climate change. Why the SUDAP at this point. One, apart from being the fact that every 5 years we have to develop a strategy of that will guide our work over the following 5 years. There are issues that are happening on the continent. One of them being the rapid urbanization that is taking place that we've all discussed in the last day or so. Africa is urbanizing very fast. We are now at 43% of the population living in cities, but this is projected to reach over 50% by 2040. And this translates into roughly 700 million people, which is twice as many people as are living in European cities today. Urbanization is also happening on average at a rate of 3.2%, but there are cities that are growing much faster than that, which means that some of these cities will double their population in 10 years or 20 years. The number of megacities is also growing. We see in Nigeria, for example, Lagos is adding about 77 people a day, or 350 people a year. So this is an enormous, challenge for not only Lagos, but for many other cities that are growing at the same rate. Now, regarding affordable housing and how this is becoming a big challenge for cities, there is, of course, cities are already grappling with big infrastructure and service delivery challenges, but the lack of adequate and decent affordable housing at the scale that is required seems to be the biggest challenge facing cities today. 80% of the urban population have no access to formal housing and have no access to formal housing. 3/4 of the population, and more than half of them are living in slums. 3/4 of the jobs are being created in the informal economy, which means that current housing is not affordable by the vast majority of populations. And then the COVID situation has exacerbated the problem of affordable housing, because it's become clear that housing is a major, has been a major challenge during this period. And it's not just the living spaces, but also the toilets, sewage systems are just not sufficient, and many other things that support our, living in homes in a comfortable way. Regarding the COVID issue, the bank is a member of the Way Forward coalition, which is which is a coalition, made up of several, partners and MDBs who are looking at promoting housing at the national level, making sure that it is seen as a major contributor to economic growth and to GDP in countries. So I have a slide on that, but you can skip it and we move to the next one. Now, even with all these challenges, there are a number of opportunities available to cities, which will enable cities to address these challenges. Among them is that cities can maximize access to quality, sustainable, and decent housing by building closer to employment and transport networks. We've heard throughout yesterday and today the importance of people living closer to where they work and having affordable homes as well as affordable transport to their places of work. Cities would need to link their housing strategies to the broader macroeconomic policy if they're to have, for it to have the greatest impact. Investments in housing will clearly boost productivity in cities and at the national level. And housing construction, we know that it creates jobs, it boosts economic activity in communities, and it generally, has an impact on GDP, even though to date, GDP, the contribution of housing to GDP hasn't been well measured, or it has been underestimated. Cities can also develop and maintain good dynamic housing data banks for better estimates of housing demand and supply. And this needs to be disaggregated by socioeconomic status, geography, type of housing, and type of households for which the housing is designed. They can also develop and maintain land banks with information on available parcels or plots of land for housing development, and also go ahead to purchase that land where it is available in advance of housing development when the land is still cheaper. There's also a need, and we've heard this throughout the conference, a need for for strong government backing in this housing sector. And this is at the national level mostly. So greater engagement of government as well as the private sector in the housing market in order to provide the needed affordable housing to the growing population in our cities. Regarding regarding financing, affordable housing financing, I should mention that for the African Development Bank, this is not a strange place for us to be. The bank has been supporting affordable housing, which is in line with the corporate priorities, or the high fives as we call them. Of course, it is also in line with SDG 11 and also Agenda 2063. The bank recognizes that Africa's financial systems and capital markets have a key role to play in funding the continent's housing through mobilizing long-term financing from institutional investors such as pension funds, insurance, and sovereign funds. It also has a role to play in terms of promoting access to affordable mortgage finance products, and also contributing to economic growth via innovative solutions and job creation. The bank has used a number of instruments to support affordable housing, including through supporting access to long-term local currency funding, promoting access to capital markets, and equity investments in regional DFIs and mortgage refinancing funds. So a number of our clients have actually been at this conference. They attended yesterday and today, so they would know exactly what it is we are talking about. So in addition to developing these financing instruments, the bank has also developed a number of other tools in response to growing challenges of cities, and in order to strengthen the capacity of cities to sustainably manage urban development and improve delivery of affordable housing. Among these is the Urban and Municipal Development Fund. This is a multi-donor trust fund, which is designed to support cities. The primary beneficiary is cities. We've also recently approved new guidelines for subnational finance, which allow the bank to lend to sub-national entities such as cities. And this is a first among MDBs. There is no other MDB that has such, ability at this point. So it is a very important instrument to allow cities to support cities, strengthen their capacity, their credit worthiness, for example, and also to be able to access capital markets for financing their activities. And then there is also the PPP strategic framework, which is a 10-year strategy that was also recently approved by the bank or by the board to support PPP developments in countries. Then we also have a lot of analytical work being done, as well as advisory services. And this is all to facilitate knowledge sharing with cities, other MDBs and other development partners and all other stakeholders that are working in cities. For example, we have under development the Affordable Housing Toolkit, which we are doing jointly with our colleagues or our partners at Shelter Afrique. And this is a toolkit that is aimed at improving dialogue with cities, identifying business opportunities, and also strengthening governance at the city level in the area of housing or providing affordable housing. And finally, in terms of, and this is to conclude very quickly, there are a number of areas that require partnerships with others, other MDBs, other DFIs, and anybody else who's working in the area of affordable housing. These areas, these items will be included in the SUDAP, which I mentioned earlier. They include providing support to de-risk lenders willing to provide smaller housing loans, for example, stimulating housing supply through support to micro builders, strengthening capacity of developers. This is something very critical to us for affordable housing, because this is a sector or group of actors that haven't really received much attention. There is also a need to support, to connect the value chain of housing and to support increased market participation of non-traditional players, especially women and youth, and to reduce barriers to entry into the housing market. There is also a need to support countries to leverage technology to resolve land rights issues and security and titling initiatives. So yesterday we heard about Rwanda being a trailblazer in this area. I think I've lost, my screen has, but I've finished.
We can still hear you, Alice. I don't know if...
No, I am finished. That was the end of my presentation. And I don't know why my screen has gone black.
Well, we can still see you, and that was a really fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. I think what's so interesting is certainly the breadth of facilities and products that the AFDB offers, and then a real appreciation for also the systemic approach that you take in terms of your investing. Very excited to see the implementation of the SUDAP and how that fits in. I'm very sorry that you're not here, because I think a lot of people would be very happy to connect directly with you. But if we've learned one thing over the last 2 years is we know how to get around that problem.
I know, you know.
So I'm sure that there will be people who will want to be in touch with you and be interested in hearing more about the kind of pipeline that you're wanting to develop. It really is very exciting. I know that last year we had a presentation by a colleague of yours last year, I believe, or Ahmed Attu, and he was presenting, showcasing some of the investments that the bank has already made into affordable housing. So we've seen this interest in affordable housing grow and develop, and this consolidated like ecosystem approach that you're setting out here is really very exciting. So thank you so much for presenting it and for championing it within the bank as well.
Thank you very much.
Really very grateful for your participation. Thank you, Alice.